What up, poetry lovers, and welcome to the next episode of Beatnix on the Road, a virtual poetry tour where every episode we stop in a different city and meet the poets from that scene. Last time we went through Texas, we did Dallas, we did San Antonio, we did Houston. Before that, we were in Richmond. But today we are in the poetry slam, probably capital right now, the great city of Baltimore. And to start us off is the multi-champion Slangston Hughes, and we are honored to have him. Slangston Hughes is a national slam champion based out of Baltimore, Maryland, artistic director of Do More Baltimore, former coach of the two-time world champion Baltimore City Youth Poetry Team, and founder as well as team member of the 7-time champion Slamageddon Baltimore Adult Slam Team, the winningest team in poetry slam history, it's facts, as well as the author of the poetry collection Slanguage Arts and Griot Glimpses, and forthcoming book God's Favorite Breakdance Move. And I can't wait to read that one. All right, everybody, I'm gonna turn y'all over to the great Slangston Hughes. Slangston, how are you feeling?
Good, good. Glad to be here.
All right, let me get out of the way. It's all you.
The biggest difference between working for a living and living for a living is never feeling dead as long as you're alive. And it can take the light from the most distant stars up to 13.5 billion years to actually reach our eyelids, a fleeting flicker of existence blinking back words. But what if when we looked at the stars, you were actually looking at yourself, looking at yourself, looking at yourself? Carl Sagan reincarnated into an exhale of sacred geometry and stanzas from a chest filled with rose petals and shattered light bulbs. The galaxy is always mouth open, solar implosion, God's flesh broken into moldavite. Poets, no, we're just microphones, blessed to be turned on at that moment when the universe decides to speak through us and to the venue that is our lives. Fuck poetry. People are more important. The best poems aren't even poems. The best poems are people, and editing is synonymous with eternity. So when the sky's not big enough, I speak planets, scream constellations with braille on my vocal cords. I don't just breathe and speak to my water. I cause it to erupt into tsunami. Poems, nah, son. This is a spirit bomb on steroids, and Goku is black. This be that true. Not metaphysical, but metaphorical literary origami that can reshape the anatomical structure of your galaxy. So just imagine that if people are like poems and each individual creates the very gravity of the planet that keeps you on the ground, then maybe family equals every single person you are around, because the only thing that makes anyone worth anything are the people who mean everything to them. Transmuted human beings of light, we are God's favorite breakdance move, streaking across the sky at night, poetic avatar of the sun, moon, and stars. So if I spit a poem at the quasars, aliens be like, damn, he got bars. This is an ocean of lungs, 1,000 tongues of fire spitting. The earth beats in deep drums. This poem-filled flesh that we wear like regrets. This wind, this breath we are given that embodies our fate, proving that love is not an emotion, but the fuel that makes us levitate. So when struggle breaks you open, remember it is so you can bleed light and bend just spirit, transmute suffering into something worth giving, speak life into existence, because the biggest difference between working for a living and living for a living is never feeling dead as long as you're alive. And poetry is the art of becoming a better person in public. I said that myself with no help. I was wrong. Because while a lot of poets write about what's right, the way they live their life is wrong and causes harm to others. Dear poetry people, I don't respect the dope text in your verses if you're an amazing poet but a shitty person. And I'm far from perfect. The line between what's personal and what hurts, never mind your writing, you need to edit your personality first. Personification don't mean you act like an asshole. You COVID in human form, and your fire rhyme schemes ain't no damn vaccine. Can't cross over when you're banned from the game. Kyrie, I always thought page and stage was the same when it came to poetry, but as far as content of character, y'all some caricatures. But the stanzas you slam or publish as literature. It's rare for poetry to have a frontier. I'd rather try to split a rock and write bloody at the watering hole, because when the poetry foundation is made up of backstabbing haters perpetrating Caucasian academic agendas, pretenders who steal your intellectual property, then obviously at best the audience is all deaf, unless it's a digital platform. You either slam to find your purpose or have it pulled out of you, come in with pieces and leave the scene broken, because apparently without buttons to help dress you up for consumption, you're left wide open, exposed to the poetic politics and harm. And right about now, I got serious qualms. I wouldn't believe your holy was hands on, even if you had Jesus's palms. Unity in the poetry community is more of a sitcom. I mean, ain't it funny how family only matters when it's jargon? So we use words to barter, but nobody wants to be Malcolm in the middle of Harlem or Martin on a Memphis balcony, living for a single moment of historical alchemy. When your words and truth don't walk step by step during good times, you could be holding a full house and still lose from playing the game incorrect. Then be quick to betray your mans and their girlfriends. Plus, when it comes to political issues, you just blackish. The ancestors are disappointing in you, honestly. Your slam trophies need to be revoked like honorary Cosby degrees. I mean, I'm not saying I wish you died. I just hope you were reincarnated into a better version of yourself next time. Now let's get this shit out like an enema. Drastic. To me, poetry should be hip hop classics and cinema. Whether you enter the dragon or 36 chambers, you're either ready to die or waiting to exhale, because it's dark and hell is hot for boys in the hood, where classrooms become dead poet societies. So the criminal minded die hard to produce rivalries, keeping them paid in full. But if I enter the stage speaking on higher learning, they try to silence me like Ghost or Machiavelli. Because when it comes to the shining or the shining, it's both. Doesn't matter who's the man. When there's shots in your belly, it was written, and all my heroes are dead. So there's nothing you could tell me. And trust me, it's never all about writing to eat or writing for clout. So many crabs in the slam bucket. The only way you see food is to get out. Because at the end of the day, it goes beyond wordplay, but playing games with your words can be lethal. And I will always love poetry, and I will always love people. But I think I've had enough of these poetry people.
Damn, he got bars. Y'all can't see me, but y'all that whole time I'm just looking out. If you're watching with me, like the faces you were making, the faces I was making. You said I love when you said the venue that is our lives. The best poems aren't poems, the best poems are people. This is a spirit bomb on steroids, and Goku is black. Come on. Poetry is the art of becoming a better person in public. When did you realize that that was incorrect?
Um, I think it's correct sometimes and incorrect sometimes. Like, and it's weird because I think that first poem is a testament to how it can be, and then it blends into a poem that is making a statement about when it's not. And so I think it's kind of the same thing at the same time. It's like the people make it true or not based off their actions. The same way the people are the poems, the people can be a good outcome or a negative outcome, like anything else. The energy is what is shaped by the actions, versus the yin and the yang spins based off of what we do.
Oh, I imagine it like a turntable when you said that. And when
Mm.
you said, I'm not saying I wish you died, I just hope you come back reincarnated as a better version of yourself next time. That's like the most merciful way to express
To be
that.
like, fuck you.
Come back as a better version of yourself. All right, well, let me get out of your way. I want to hear more of this work. It is, y'all. I mean, y'all hear it. Write in the comments, y'all. Like, what are the favorite lines from Slangston that y'all heard? But let me get out y'all way. Take it away, Slangston.
This next poem is a persona non grata, if you will. It's a persona piece in the form of a historical epistolary. An open letter from Crispus Attucks to Black Lives Matter. They say I was the first nigga to get shot. To quote my sister, had they not killed him, he would have killed them. Yet I died for their liberty far before Patrick Henry demanded death in exchange for his. They say I marked with a wooden club in hand and a shout of freedom upon my lips. I guess I was the first black activist, from cotton picking to picket signs. My skin a protest sign written in blood. The Bill of Rights pinned with my sacrifice. So red coats gave us blues in the streets that day. The same way tyrants in red turned black bodies blue, red, blood, bloody red today. This country has always had a hard time processing colors. Prosecutors couldn't process whether I had a stick or black fist raised the same way that police officers can't tell the difference between a gun and a cell phone, a gun and a wallet, a gun and a nothing. But is it an empty hand what they have always offered us before offering us? So officers through the scope of history look a lot like red coats and blue uniforms to me. See how from clubs the crowbar's black skin remains the weapon that threatens. I guess it takes 20 rounds fired into a front yard to dehumanize a man into a Google search, whatever that is, because from lithographs to hashtags, they will co-opt your movement and use it to propel white agendas when white youth raise their fist to demand heroes. When black youth do the same, they will say it is criminal. Do not expect tweets from Oprah in support of black children demanding respect for their lives, from freedom rides to Diane on roadsides, or the TV watches us, a reality show with over 1 million views that always ends in a viewing. Oh, how we fight for life, yet still praise dance at the moment of death. I guess it's why Africans pray to the ancestors, or crackers pray to a dead white man. I don't know. Blood matter splattered across the brains on social media. Fuck police body cams. I'm ready to body your man. Oh, how I wish I could stand upon the balcony in Memphis with a loaded 12 gauge and take aim from the Autobahn ballroom to Fred Hampton's bedroom, Breonna Taylor's bedroom, or hope for the future wrapped in a shroud of bullet spray. My ghost, a shell casing encased inside Tamir's toy gun, trying to wipe his mother's tears away. The erasure of black lives, the way their firearms will turn traffic stop to autopsy table, break your spine and demand that we stand for their flag. Will they ignore all the bodies that hang? I guess even on one knee, you can't stand your ground in America, and freedom is my favorite word too. But who knew that liberty or death wasn't a question, but a corner black people are always backed into, or a coroner black people are always backed into? What if black lives only matter after they end? So I pray the next time shots fire, a revolution will finally begin. Sincerely yours, Crispus.
Yo, what if liberty or death isn't a question but a corner? Man, what was the process of writing this? Like, how do you even write something like that?
So, so the literal process of that, because the question that led to the poem, that led to the process was, I've done so many black poems, so many black liberation poems at this point. How do I write another one that's different from all the other ways I wrote them before? And so then I watched Ava DuVernay's documentary, The 13th, and took a bunch of notes. And then I watched the documentary that what's his name? Light-skinned actor from Grey's Anatomy who gave the speech that time.
Oh, I know you with the beautiful eyes, and he had the
Jesse,
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 yeah, Jesse something. Yeah. The microphone
Jesse.
way down here, and he was like that. Yeah, I remember.
So he did a documentary most people don't even know about, chronicling a lot of the unrest that was happening in Black Lives Matter. And this was all prior to George Floyd and all of that that happened during the pandemic. And there were notes, and then I took the notes and then I put them in Crispus Attucks' voice. And that basically is what led to the poem coming out that way.
Dang, yo, a master class. We did not deserve that.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
makes me wanna write something or watch something and take notes. I don't watch enough things. All right. Well, you got a couple more for us, right?
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Uh,
Well, let me get out the way.
Energy transference to another sermon of those sorts. Um, Powerful people cannot afford to educate the people who they oppress. Because once you are truly educated, you will not ask for power, you will take it. John Henrik Clarke. Slave him in your stomach, broken Bible verse in your pocket, the watch that watches time like the red line riding towards your heartbeat, the stolen overpriced soul that you can't buy back, play back on repeat. Barcodes branded on newborn babies' birth certificates. There is a price set on your life's worth, selling you yourself back to yourself before you can download your self-worth. There was an app that interacts with your melanin, but you gotta die first. There's dirt in my dialogue and a callus on my soul, scratching at the infection like a mad turntablist, a bloody crucifix carved in our fingerprints, because Lord knows as soon as the cock crows, they will take hold and siphon the God out of your dick. Fuck you and fuck them too. I am Jesus at a peaceful protest fully strapped. I'm John Brown posting pics on Instagram. A freed slave been sold back. I'm Harriet Tubman in the club making it clap. I am Imhotep on crack. I'm your worst nightmare because I don't know who I am, but I know how to I am. A biracial binary baby with an iPhone plugged into his navel, keeping Africa fully charged, only to get charged double for the cost of my life back and get the charge from those in charge, charged with no rights, so you damn right through my rights to write back. Nigga, Frederick Douglass ain't need Twitter. We could be Trayvon Martin, Delaney King, and still not be accustomed to the hood you in. They put Christ in the hood and let the media crucify the spin. So when the zealots was finished yelling, remain equally unaware of the blood spilling in the linen and the lineage of the hood you in. So if you brown, 6 shots will put you down for the count because your very skin is a threat to the world you in. You can't be in the struggle and not struggle. I guess the griot is back with a vengeance. White guilt had sex with white privilege and produced assimilated niggas. There's a railroad of bones at the bottom of the ocean. There's a chamber of souls and the guns our sons are holding. There's a loud graveyard planet beneath every American city. There are a billion black bodies coming back to the living. You thought the zombie apocalypse was some shit? Just wait until you get a hold of my niggas. See, this is the dispensation of truth in the new age, and there's so many slain ancestors coming back for revenge that it'll make reparations look like minimum wage. No justice, no peace, but I will scream justice in this piece if it's just us in this piece, but don't expect no just us once we take to the streets. Black lives don't matter. Black lives are matter. Like black, like space, like stars and shit. Melanin, matter, nigga. Naturally intellectual ghetto galactic alchemist. Nigga. But sometimes I wonder if it all really matters when I hear the devil's laughter and if dreams are just nightmares that haven't shattered. A wise man once told me, the black man is God. If God looked into a mirror and the mirror shattered. And sometimes the mirror lies better than we do. I want truth. Victor, I hate you. You're a coward who only passively follows his passion. You've wasted most of your life trying to be a writer, but you're actually average in denial that maybe metaphors are just a mask for madness, a magic trick that makes insecurities vanish. If people are poems, then editing is surgery with just pins for scalpels and a crowd full of numb anesthesiologists, new suicide notes loaded into ink cartridges. You were never a poet, but an actor this whole time. You smile a masterclass in the craft of lying to mirrors and loved ones you would lose to yourself and the verses just because your reflection is so ugly. An introvert who hates his own company. You can't control your own anger. Your life is a writing workshop where every first line is a disclaimer. You're a good person, not because you want to do good. You still want to be bad. You're the only ineffective father who's not actually a real father. You're afraid of having biological children because you don't want to be like your dad, and he's dead, and you're next, just temporary flesh, a professional poet. Nigga, you can't even afford where you live. Vulnerability, your best ability is your availability to give away things you don't have, like time and love. Slangston is a slave name. Victor is a damn shame. Your words don't matter. What's the matter? I hate you! Crazy. No. Insane. How hurtful the things are that we say to ourselves each and every day. These are just some of mine. But imagine if we did the exact opposite for just half of the time. If we possessed that much darkness inside, what would happen if we turned on the power inside? How bright might our light shine? I don't know, but I've decided to try. Dear Victor, thank you for the hugs that hurt, for the heartbeat of a time machine that loved me back before I learned to love myself first. Everyone is better because of how you show up, and you treat children like yourself because you know the best people are adults who decided to never grow up. When you die, they'll turn your eulogy into a how-to guide. Your smile is an ode that the Most High wrote to your mother. You're so dope. Your DNA ain't got strands. It got bars. And your jokes aren't funny, but the looks on people's faces when you make them are. You hug like a grandma. And as far as purpose, being the best writer isn't important because the pages that make up your life have made you a better person. I'm not the only one who knows this reflection is true. There were at least 5 children who didn't have fathers before who now do because of you. So I think it was worth it. Both parts of this poem are true. The only difference is which side do I decide to spit out. And I promise with every breath I recite that from this moment forward, I will talk to me nice. Now say it with me. No, not to me, to you. Right there, watching on the screen right now. Say, I will talk To me, nice, because your words matter, but your actions are the matter. What's the matter? Sometimes the mirror lies better than we do. I want truth. And the truth is, Victor, I love you.
Oh my God, y'all. Sorry. That's actually really sweet. That was really good, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible artist. I'm so glad that we got to witness that. And everybody watching, I hope that you set it along with Langston. Because life is hard. We don't have to be so hard on ourselves. In addition to that, um, and but also just spider lines. So many ancestors coming back. It'll make reparations look like minimum wage. That's the way. Like that is the
Right.
vision. Um, that is the energy that I want to carry with me forward for the rest of my life. Um, Langston, I'm gonna ask you wow, I'm sorry, I'm just so bewildered by that poem. It was so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. What do you think, so like I don't really know how y'all get down in Baltimore. All I've seen is from the outside is, y'all cutting heads, winning championships. But as somebody who's in that scene, what would you say? I know this isn't the question I said I would ask, but I was very moved by your work. What would you say like the impact on your work, Baltimore and Maryland, have had on your development as an artist?
Well, I'll say first of all, Baltimore is in Maryland, but not of it. They're very distinct, different places, very distinct, different cultures. Super quick story. I lived in Silver Spring for a few years, and I can tell you that life in Silver Spring at 2 a.m. downtown is a completely different culture from 2 a.m. downtown Baltimore. Even 7-Eleven is an indication of the difference where Silver Spring downtown, they will let homeless people come to 7-Eleven and charge their phones. Uh, Baltimore, they will call the police and you will get charged with a crime. Um,
Mm.
Another thing, after a little while living in Silver Spring, horrible thing. Someone got stabbed to death in my apartment complex. Uh, it was the first time there was a murder in Silver Spring in 7 years.
Mm.
In Baltimore, there's an organization that started to try to prevent people not to kill each other within a weekend, to have a ceasefire weekend occasionally where no one died for a whole weekend. So it's just the difference in the culture shock in between places that are about 45 minutes apart, but completely different worlds. And that bleeds into the art. So the art that comes out of Baltimore has a particular edge and a ripple effect from a survival instinct that is representative of the life that happens there. And that is why you see such an edginess, such an aggressiveness, um, such a such a brilliance built off of survival that comes the art that comes out of Baltimore, whether you're talking poetry, hip hop, dance music, graffiti art. Like Baltimore has become this enclave of an art form that reproduces itself based off of the circumstances that people are living in, and that is why it reflects the way that it does. It's very different from anywhere else, especially in the poetry world. It has a different kind of sound to it. It's very unapologetically black. It's very in your face, and very uncensored.
Mm. Yeah, that's a fact. And y'all will probably witness that when we head on over to our other artists. Slangston, how can we support you? Where can we find you?
So the best way to follow me and all my other personalities, because Langston is only one of me, there are others. But on IG, we are Artist Alien 777. That's right, Artist Alien 777, where many things can be found. I kind of just got out of semi IG jail, so I can follow people again. So I will follow back if you follow me. That book that Anthony was just holding up is by Art Vandelay and Devlin Waldell. Artemis Vandelay is another me. Devlin Waldell is another person who's not a me. And we collaborated on that book right there. Serenity Now, Good Morning is a fusion of foreign poetry and literary nonfiction. And then there's this book right here. Some of the poems I read today were from this book. It is Slanguage Arts and Griot Glimpses. You can find that online on Amazon and all those places. Slanguage Arts and Griot Glimpses. And if you go to my IG, Artist Alien 777, and you go to the bio, there are several links to various musical projects, hip hop projects, albums and mixtapes, including a Slangston Hughes spoken word mixtape called Tell the Truth or Shut the Fuck Up, Ghetto Griot 2. Some of what I did today is on there as well, and it takes you straight to the various clicks and SoundCloud links and sound clicks where those things are for free. And there's also a link to Chicory Magazine, which is something we have revitalized recently. It was a literary arts magazine that was in Baltimore from 1963 to 1982, and there were people involved with it. It was founded by Sam Cornish from Baltimore, who later on became the Poet Laureate of Boston. Lucille Clifton was a part of the work that happened with it, and as well as just regular people from Baltimore who had something to say. It provided that platform, and we're bringing that historical platform back. Chicory has returned. If you go to chicoryproject.org, the link is also in my IG bio, and we just dropped our proof of concept issue, and we're about to start bringing forth the issues of Chicory Has Returned. Check out Chicory Revitalization Project and chicoryproject.org, where you can find out more about that. And then there's, of course, there's Do More Baltimore, Do More Poetry at Do More Poetry, DEW More Poetry on IG, where we have programs for the youth, including the Baltimore Youth Poet Laureate Program, and we just started the Maryland State Youth Poet Laureate Program this year. And many other cool things we're about to have. Well, by the time you see this, we will have had a poetry festival, one that McPherson once was the feature for. So fun stories all around.
Well, everybody, that is Slangston Hughes. Before we move on, I want y'all watching. Let me know which of Slangston's poems you resonated with the most. And if you remember any lines, put them in the comments too. Slangston, it was an honor and a privilege. I'm so glad I got to see your poems today.
Absolutely.
I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. All right. McPherson, who you with now? Well, McPherson, I am here with the homie I just met for the third time recently, Kima Flight, and y'all are in for a treat. Check it out. Kima Flight exists today as an earth poet, host, and chicken box connoisseur, born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. She was on the Baltimore City Youth Poetry Team for 3 years in a row. Kima holds the titles of Hyperbole Slam Champion of 2019, 1/6 of the Brave New Voices Champion in 2018, and 3rd place in the International Woman of the World Poetry Slam in both 2022 and 2024. I saw the last one. It was amazing. Currently, she is part of the nonprofit Do More Baltimore, where she works as an administrative assistant. So y'all keep it in the family. That's what's up. Kima uses her platform to advocate for community healing, spirituality, and the advancement of Black and LGBT plus individuals. I'm gonna get out your way. Kima, how you feeling?
I'm doing all good. I appreciate you for having me.
Oh no, pleasure's all ours. All right, show New York and everybody else watching all your magic. I'm a Homer Simpson moonwalking into the bushes. Bye.
Absolutely. Some want Black to be king. I want Black to be free. The biggest lie my people are still believing is that capitalism will save us. Gold is the material we didn't know shackles could be made out of, still sporting chains. Slavery is psychological just as it is physical. Colonizers created a Black market. Then when that changed, a market to Blacks made us money, literally. So of course we think our change lies in seeing Tubman on the 20, putting a woman who couldn't free slaves, that didn't know they were slaves, on the same thing that's keeping us prisoner. This irony feels familiar, left in the dirt. So my niggas started eating rocks. stuffing jewels in our faces for the days we were left starving, making it rain after coming from food deserts. To hate slavery, then thrive off the economic system that drives it is not revolutionary, it's cognitive dissonance. Mass wealth for the Black community is not life changing, it's life exchanging. Get 100K watches because we're taught to find diamonds in the rough times, spend life spending, getting ice instead of starting fires. And even if we do build the empires we line about hating, Black kings still have to have Black slaves. Masters are still masters no matter the melanin. You can't escape the field in finance if finance is the field. Picking cotton and want cash even feel the same. That's why your palms itchy, nigga. This system got us thinking that making money makes us owners, when really we just overseers in Gucci sunglasses. Checks keeping us in check. Can't stage a coup when you have a two-door coupe to worry about. The security and money is just the insecurity and freedom. It's just another white lie so they can line their boats on shores they don't belong on because everyone putting up a gold front. When we call kings and queens so badly, we wear crowns in our mouths, but all crowns need to be replaced. Even your teeth know something too rich will destroy them. You think after being rations that we will stop when it's increased our property value. Beware of the capitalists who claim to be revolutionary, because a revolution is another word for a circle. And my nigga, it is one you will never get in. In the first term, a baby grows the fastest it ever will, builds new cells at rapid rates and implants itself inside the wall of the body's womb. In its first term, the US grew the fastest it ever will, built new cells at rapid rates and implanted itself inside the wall of indigenous and African wombs. So why would they hit abort? Gave us express shipping on slaves. So this country already knows how to deliver and expects us to do the same. America grants planned panic to unwilling bodies because what else would you call a baby? And what else would you call an invasion? What's the birth of a nation to the birth of a nation? This is America. They want you bearing children so they can bear arms long enough to play for the Bears buried in every field they touch down on. Trust, this country already knows how to get away with murder. Whether Viola Davis or like a viola they playing us. Black History Month is in February, because what the fuck a march ever do? Why would a nation that started with 13% of its population in chains ever be pro-choice? The voice of murdered Black babies rest in the pits of alligator stomachs. They stuffed Black fetuses in jars and called it experimenting. Still doing the same thing with our bodies. Why would they be lax on new cells like they don't have Henriettas? Why would they give a fuck about giving Black bodies an option? The only one you got is give them kids up for adoption because profits come from keeping niggas on welfare and food stamps. Because you don't stay hungry unless you keep eating. That's why they called the feds. It took a Black president 4 terms times 2 and we still ain't 8. The only plan B we taking is Barack or The Rock. How you thinking you cracking the system when they put crack in the system, leaving you dried up from the sun you raising? We ain't great because we got buried. How many dead Black babies does it take for you to get it? Rename Lady Liberty, miscarriage, the way this country loves the blood of what could have been. You only terminate when they tell you to. How could abortion be legal in the same place the forced pregnancy of slave women was? It's the same breed, just a different fuck. And America does not go back on what it does. And you got child support. What else would you call government assistance? Choice hasn't been given since this country's conception. Because what's the pain of contraction to a white man's contract? Because you manifest destiny every time you make a Black baby. And you can't have God's plan without an unwilling body, so won't you be married? Have the baby you never planned to have. The baby that will be lynched by this country anyways. And what? You tired of carrying the American dream? Tired of seeing yourself die? Nah, that's just morning sickness. You'll get over it. We need you know anyways, because vulnerability breeds an army. Ain't no such thing as an unwilling soldier, just one that hasn't been broken in yet. So put your body to the test, give life to death, and surrender to America's will. Thank you for your cervix. Real porn titles I feel should be classified as hate crimes. Black thug burglar fucks MILF police woman for freedom. A little squirt from my nigger. Juicy black butt teen gets fucked by aggressive BBC thug. My Black ass eyes should not have to read that caucasity. And it's pissing me off because my family's out the house for a couple hours. So this masturbation session was supposed to be some me time. But now my clique gotta get political, and I'm picky about my shit. So why am I on page 49 of X videos, still seeing big booty ghetto gagger bitch? Even in profession where they show some holes, only white people are seen as wholesome. They be innocent, submissive Sarahs, and back from a business trip Brian's, blackness has always been turned inside out. There's an actual fucking timeline where white women wrote on their protest signs about how much they love black dick. Makes me wonder if necrophilia is their fetish. The way they reduce blackness to a tool even when it lays there lifeless. Stupid black bitch gets what she deserves. Dumb nigger gets put in his place. These porn titles and news headlines looking too similar. When I see a body count compilation, I can't tell if I'm watching BBC or BBC. And black women are the most vulnerable group for forced prostitution. So I wonder if ghetto gagger is just another way to say snatched from the hood in silence, taken from the streets and trapped in a world wide web. When the site crashes, it stops the flow of sex traffic. How many times in our lives will our bondage never be a choice? And did you know? They're old ass white predators going on sex tours to the Caribbean, turning underage black boys into a final destination. Because once you go black, you never go back to being a child or a person. Terry Crews talks of his sexual assault and the world just laughs, turns his story fantasy, because black can never be a victim. When a white man murders non-black worshippers in Charleston, he says it's because black men are raping white women. The barrel of his gun sounds just like Emmett Till's whistle. It sounds just like the Central Park 5 footsteps. Because when they see us, it's as animals. The next title reads, White God Tames Angry Black Woman. We'll call it Jungle Fever because I'm hot. Because it ain't a problem to be kinky there, unless you're kinky hair. When they pay per view but never pay for you, that's called being merchandise. And ebony is the most searched porn category in the nation. Yet black actors are paid way less. Porn contracts looking a lot like 3/5 compromise, auctioning off our eBays. The master bait got us hooked online because it's the best place to see black bodies hung, whether shot or in a shot. Black people always have to be seen instead of seen. My last straw was a video titled Black Meat, White Feet. Low key, I'm mad that I laughed at the rhyme. Both my phone and I are turned off at this point because a girl can't even bust a nut nowadays without racism rubbing me the wrong way.
Yo, Kima, I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm gonna give you your flowers. Like, I think you're one of my favorites for real. Like, every line, like, it's just there was no wasted space. Every single line added something, contributed something, whether it was to the point you're making or just the poetry and the skill of it. Like it did something. Like at no point was my brain allowed to wander. And that is that is just top tier uh crafting there. Wow. No, 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 that's amazing. So you write about a lot of things that could be I don't know, I guess, boundary pushing, even within poetry and like because we be pushing boundaries and talking about like political stuff that's going to make people uncomfortable, but I feel like you be taking it even further. So like we got you're talking about capitalism. Even a lot of super progressive people are like, but I like money, you talk about how Black people are treated in porn and then just in sexuality in general and our bodies. Like, but the people are like, protective of, their vices. So how do you go about that? Like without, like with maintaining your, I don't know, like the force field around your soul, because I'm sure like that's gonna bring out a lot of anger.
It does. Within myself internally and externally, because I've gotten commentary on my poetry about like the topics that I cover. And some people have been a fan of it, some people have not been. And I think one thing for me, I always remember when it comes to this poetry is that for the biggest thing that I always remember is that a Black person, my Blackness is going to be intertwined in every single thing that I do. I have never written a poem and had not a point about me being Black. So I could be writing about space and time and it still will come back to Blackness, because I think something that makes people feel seen in a lot of my poetry is that they get to like that nitty-gritty part of our society that we often shy away from, even as poets. Like we tell ourselves what's marketable, what's authentic and things like that, but what's authentic to me is these like things that we tend to shy away from, with sexuality, with women's rights, with capitalism. All these things like can be uncomfortable because it means we face ourselves, but that's what I do in my art every single day. I'm never writing a poem where I'm not facing myself. So these poems also me holding myself accountable. It's holding myself accountable for the ways that I consume my own Blackness and the ways that I express that out into the world. So I appreciate the compliment because I'm very intentional with what I write and what I put out into the world. There are a lot of poems that won't see the light of day just because they're very vulnerable, and that's how I kind of protect my soul. But the poetry that I do and put out into the world is for people who have also felt this weird, like strange aspect of themselves being put out into the world and don't know how to explain it. So the things that can be considered like abnormal are things that I navigate in my everyday life as a queer neurodivergent Black woman. So it's not, yeah, it's nothing new to me. So I guess I'm just bringing to light the experiences that I have on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, word. Last question I'll ask you. Um, so like I said, you said there's poems that you don't share. Love that. But the poems that you do share, like all three of them, the writing was just very tight, like I was saying, like no wasted space. Um, is like so like living in Baltimore, I'm wondering is there anything about y'all's like poetry environment that cultivates that type of writing? Like what is like the process of becoming a writer who wastes no space? Because like I see a lot of writers like they'll have like these lines that they like, but no one else does.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And like not once did I have that moment where it was like, oh, okay, can we get back to the part that matters? Like, yeah, so it's like, what is the process like of becoming that artist, that
mm.
super disciplined artist?
That's a beautiful question. I love Baltimore. Like this has been, I I feel as though like being a Baltimore poet for whatever reason that was decided upon the forces of the universe has allowed me to like hit the ground running when it comes to my poetry. I feel as though a lot of the times like when it comes to the process of writing, like we often like sequester ourselves, and we all have our different processes when it comes to that, but the Baltimore environment kind of forces you in a beautiful but and also in a cursed way, I guess, to hit the ground running when it comes to your poetry. We have the amazing mentors of the space, Kenneth Something, Lady Breon, Black Chakra, Langston Hughes, Shinya, all these people who have been my personal I could go on and on about all the amazing poets from Baltimore that all have inspired me to be the poet that I am. Essentially, the Baltimore scene, it is one where you are inspired to be an individual of epic proportions. And when I say that, I mean to say not everybody's asking of you to like be the billionaire or whatever. People are asking you to always be authentic. Like one thing about a Baltimore person is they're going to always say like be you. Like we sense when somebody on that phony stuff. So my mentors have always said what's true to you, what's true to what you don't want to say. And when it comes to like being intentional with poetry, we take our craft very seriously. Like I'm very big. One thing I learned from Black Chakra is like, what are you saying? What are you actually saying in your poetry? If you have a line that doesn't need to be there, it doesn't need to be there. Like you need to be very serious with how you place your words and what words you're actually saying. So through that, I learned to take poetry as a craft very seriously. I love it as an art and as a form of expression, but as a craft, it is fun. It is playful. It is how far you can take the English language. So I think just being in a city that like teaches you adversity in such a strong way. We have so many things going on. We have the poetry party. We have a Mecca's mic. We have all types of things that go on in the scene that just allow people to channel their creativity in a crazy way. So I would just say like it's the toughness of the city that also inspires you to be the best poet that you can be.
Yo, is that a microwave back there? Look, hold on.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. So, I think I lied to you. I do have one more question, and
Yes.
that's how do we find you? How do we support you? You got a book? Do you got a website? You got an IG handle? What you got for us?
Yeah, so working on a book right now.
Mm.
I'm really trying to work on a book right now. Hopefully it'll be out this year. My Instagram is at this is Keyma ThisIsKeyma. You can follow me on that. I'll be posting more of my poetry endeavors. I have some things coming up in this May and this summer. And yeah, that's the best way you can support me. No book now, no book, no website just yet, but I'm starting to pick up the pace this year. So hopefully this year will be when all the things get to come out.
You better with writing like that. All right, Kima, I'm not gonna hold you.
Thank
I think
you.
we got one more poet on our Baltimore stop. McPherson, who is that? And that's where I'll cut it. Hey,
Thank you. Thank you.
all right, no. Well, McPherson, it's funny that you should ask. I am here with one of the bestest poets, period. Not just in Baltimore, but period. My friend Maya Wright. Maya, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great after hearing that. One of the best poets.
Oh,
Wow.
for sure, for
What an
sure, for sure.
honor.
Oh, please, you know that's the truth. All right, y'all, listen, I'm gonna read Maya's bio. Y'all listen carefully. Maya is a poet out of Pittsburgh who has recently relocated to Baltimore. Okay, transplant gang, what up, what up? She has over 279,000 subscribers on YouTube. I did not know that. Dang, that's a big number. That's more than I have on TikTok. What? I didn't even know about this. I'm gonna follow y'all. What's the handle? How do we find you on YouTube?
I am Maya Wright.
Y'all, I'm gonna subscribe right after this.
WRIT. Yep.
That's mad subscribers. And continues to grow her fan base on other social media platforms. Maya began slamming in the summer of 2020 in the pandemic, and in April 2021 became one of the top 5 women poets in the world. In January 2022, Maya earned a spot on the most awarded slam team in the world, Slamageddon. She, along with teammates, won the title of 2022 Southern Fried Slam Champions. I think I saw that happen. Maya is the current individual Southern Fried Poetry Slam champion. I saw that happen too. When she isn't slamming, though, she has the pleasure of leading poetry workshops. Y'all should take one for colleges and youth groups. Maya recently released her first poetry book, The Streetlights Are On, Poems for My Friends Called Home, and is preparing for her second book titled Let's Just Make It Through the Month. Maya, are you ready to bless us with some poems? Because I think they're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me get out your hair. Everybody, I give y'all Maya.
I didn't lay down to make my children. I stood courtside, watching as the decision of custody be dribbled between gavel, God-given mother, foster care, and me. I dropped out of college to raise my niece and nephew. There's been days I turned down my plate when a meal couldn't stretch 3 ways. I picked up extra shifts at work, made the phrase Christmas miracle my children's reality. It seemed nothing was too much until it was. And I didn't think something so small could highlight every huge sacrifice. I mean, I was the best aunt in the world before I was a subpar parent. And now I feel like a failure in both roles because I got mad at my niece for taking my book bag. It was the last thing that was just mine. Promised to return to myself when I was done being theirs. An anchor keeping me from drifting into a forever of motherhood it held my last semester in its belly. A dream of going back, a dean's list letter, and a half-written speech for debate I could have finished if I were selfish, but I'm not. When ink exploded in my niece's book bag, she took mine, evicted my only evidence of academia. I don't think she realizes how much I never needed the reminder, even though I recognized she needed the replacement. I stopped being a student when I started being their parent. I dropped classes to pick up their mother's pieces. I used all of me to hold them together, and I haven't had enough time to fall apart about it. I try not to live my life in what ifs. What if I stayed in school, became the rich auntie instead of just their struggling mom? What if weeks go past and my niece starts to tell me everything she likes about her new book bag? And the list is identical to the things I loved about my old one. I want to say, yeah, I like that too, but I don't. I show restraint. I don't allow sarcasm to become a part of our schedule. I need her to have a safe space, even when she is the one to rob me of my own. I keep reminding myself, girl, you love this job. You are the best aunt in the world when you aren't a mediocre mom. I promise us parents don't get enough sleep at night to daydream, and still, a mother's love has to be enough to cover a multitude of inconvenience. My niece started college last year. My book bag made it back to school before I did. But I promise I am more proud than I am panicked about a shrinking timeline. My resentment is replaced with wishing it didn't go so fast. I keep my baby as my screensaver so I can still see her every day. And I am ashamed that I was ever mad about a book bag when she used to live out of one.
Man, how you start us off that hard? Maya, is that a new poem?
It is a new poem.
Yeah,
It
I
is a
didn't
new
recognize
poem.
that. Yo, that for New York, and at least for me, that is some new shit. Wow. I
Thank
was
you,
the
thank you.
best. I was the best aunt in the whole world before I became what you said, a subpar parent.
Yeah, that's how I felt. That's how I felt at the time. I just felt like I could be doing better at this if I was prepared for this, and I'm not prepared.
Oh man, I have a million questions, but I'm not trying to dive into your personal life on camera. But like, yo, this is like really. This is wow. My mind is completely blown. I'm
Well,
usually really good at what to say after people's poems, but like I don't know. I was just like, wait, what? Like in the midst of all these championships and wins and career things, you're also a parent now.
yeah. I love my babies. They really they're my favorite. They're just my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I love being an aunt. It's
Mm.
really top of the line.
I'll tell you this. So it's probably no secret. I love my niece. I be posting her all the time. But yeah, like that's stuff that I think about. Like, yo, what if I had to actually take care of her? And I feel like a lot of people um have that thought, but you're actually like living it, man. I guess I'll try to keep it professional and about poetry. How has that affected your process of creation?
I wasn't coding for a while. Yeah, it has really helped me on the back end, but going through it, it really delayed a lot of things for me because my children are coming from a tumultuous situation, and I wanted to make sure that I could give everything to their development. Because oftentimes when you're raising children, you're not worried about the adult that they become. I'm worried
Mm.
about the adult that you're going to become, right? I don't really live in that stay in a child's place bubble because your place will not be in childhood forever. So when you
Mm.
start to tell adults like, act your age, you told me to be this one stagnant age my whole life, and now I got to wake up and know how to do things. So I dropped out of school and I just made sure that I could pay my rent and I could raise these children with as much love and morals and support as I possibly could. But
And I'm just gonna harp on one more thing, just because I'm so shocked to have heard a new poem, which is such a blessing, and it's like a part of your life that I knew nothing about. That line about like your book bag making it back to school before you, that's just like I don't even know if I know how to teach that. Like you told a whole story, but like and it's a complex narrative, but then like each of the lines, like you have all these lines that also like it's like story and poetry blending. Like not every poem has a narrative, but this one definitely does. But yeah, you be doing that a lot. I noticed like you're one of the better storytellers in the poetry world. So let me be quiet though, and let you tell more of your story. Out of here.
when life gives him lemons, my boyfriend makes another tattoo appointment. He says it's like his therapy, but doesn't realize how ineffective it is to have words on his skin but never leave his lips. He won't talk about it. And it can be intrusive thoughts. It can be internalized trauma. It can be the clown-esque cops that shot his cousin, but he'll speak on none of it. Black boys are raised not to raise questions about their feelings. The world keeps trying to convince me my boyfriend's numb. Though I know he's not, I still wonder why it seems so simple for him to scar his own skin. I realize absent of ink, but not without addiction. My childhood friend had a full sleeve, but still OD'd last year. And now I'm just wishing he would have gotten another tattoo. But I guess it is harder to stay here than it is to stay still in a session where someone is writing out all the reasons you should leave. I think about my boyfriend even more now. He is a walking diary, but I refuse to add to the dictation. My name on his flesh is not how I want to spend forever in his arms, so I check on him. I check on him so much it starts to feel like nagging, but he just tells me he's fine. Tells me his tattoos ain't no call for help, or even a far cry from the way I deflect. He wants to know why all his coping is questioned, but mine is cathartic. I can now hear the hypocrisy in my concern. I write more than I talk, but then tell him to talk more than he gets wrote on. He has less tattoos than I have poems, but we have the same amount of problems, so it seems ink isn't solving either of our issues. After we argue, it's back to normal. Body rubs and heartbreaking headlines. This week, I notice a fresh death date on his skin without the mention of a funeral. I don't know what to say when I'm staring at all his grief in print, but here I am writing about it again. In the moment, I rehearse something in my head and still nothing leaves my lips. So I massage over his mourning. I at least let him know I see it. I let the cocoa butter lead the conversations I can't have. This is how I support what I'm not supposed to speak on, because this is the only comfort he accepts, even though it's nothing close to what he actually needs. What he needs is to feel safe enough somewhere to talk about it. But I doubt he ever will. He's been brought up to be silent, and I too know how to navigate a world without sounds now. Every time my boyfriend gets a new tattoo, I just buy another notebook, and neither one of us complains about how the other is disappearing behind ink.
No, no, this is new too.
He got new shoes. They got new shoes. I
They got
rewrote
new
something.
shoes. Okay. Yo, Maya, you were already winning championships. Why'd you have to level up on us again? That's rude.
Oh, I feel like back to like the parent stuff. I feel like I was just like not producing a lot that was living in me.
Mm.
Because that boyfriend ain't even my boyfriend anymore. Like, and I wrote that poem way after. And I typically don't write poems in relationships. It's like taking prom photos. Now I got, XUI and all this.
Not taking prom photos. Nah, you said I write more than I talk. That whole lot, yo. The whole time I'm writing, oh, I'm gonna talk about this line, but then you say another line. I'm just like, let me put this down and just listen. All right, speaking of, I'm gonna put this down and just listen. You got one more for us?
I do.
All right, y'all. Soak this one up. And y'all in the comments, let me know which of Maya Wright's poems was your favorite. And let's hear this third one.
My dad doesn't have an honest bone amongst the skeletons. So when he told me my uncle died, I didn't believe him. I still got dressed for work. I made it an hour through my shift before drowning at my desk in a sea of RIPs and my uncle's photo floating on Facebook. I was scared to check every caption. And now I think about him at the most inconvenient times. I could be in a meeting and I could hear him singing Mr. Telephone Man. No, I'm fixing Sunday dinner and I could see my uncle eating my potato salad without asking. I swear I was so fucking mad at him. But now he isn't here to eat my food and ruin my days, and that is really ruining my days. Grief has made me feel more guilty than my own sins. I wish I made time for him. Busy doesn't seem so busy when bereavement quickly comes to cancel all your plans. I swear this is the first death that felt like my own. It's been 4 years and the earth ain't spun the same since. And it seems sometimes my uncle's memory doesn't leave room enough for me to breathe. So pray to forget him. I know it is selfish to wish him away, but even more so to pray him back here without a heaven to offer him. I feel crazy because asking to forget him is like asking him to leave me twice, but at least this time it wouldn't hurt. I can't feel what I can't recall. This is the side of sad you are not supposed to give words to, but it has a voice. It sounds like the bargaining stage on repeat. Please, God, to see my uncle's face forever in my head, but never again in my eyes is its own kind of hell, and I am no good at playing devil's advocate, so please, God, give me back my Thursdays. I want to eat potato salad in peace, not in remembrance. I want to sing Mr. Telephone Man without it ending in tears. I want my mama's face not to burn with the thought of her brother's burial. I wish someone safer would have broken the news that broke my heart instead of my dad delivering devastation over a text message as if condolences was ever meant to be that casual. I'd rather amnesia than be aware of his absence all the time. Since he's been gone, I swear I've been having the worst of the days. And I already couldn't hold myself together on the best of them, so I pray, please, God, take away every good memory, even if that makes me a bad person, because if you do, I don't remember the guilt or the grief anyway.
Y'all, that is Maya writes. Not Maya writing all the poems that I need to write. Maya, what do you do to get out of that hard headspace after doing a poem like that?
I do the work before the poem. I do a lot of work before the poem. When I first wrote this piece, oh my goodness, it was just like a stream of consciousness. It wasn't even a poem. And I showed my coach, not because he was my coach or even for a competition, but because we have a very human relationship outside of the stage.
Mm.
Uh, and we kind of worked through that. He's like, okay, are you in therapy? Are you talking to somebody? And I'm like, I am. And I do a lot of work beforehand, to be honest, because if I am not prepared for, something that heavy, it doesn't make it to a stage. So right now, this piece really won't show back up in competition.
Mm.
I like it for intimate sets. I'm in my house. I feel safe.
Mm.
I'm okay. It's not getting scored. No one's about to, talk about my uncle's death and then say seven. So I do a lot of work, and there's a lot of boundaries with this piece. Like I don't really lend myself to being that vulnerable to a place where I can't repair off stage. That's happened once before, and I was blindsided by it. And I was like, oh no, I didn't do enough work. So yeah, it's really on the front end that I do my work.
I hear you in terms of not doing everything in a slam. There's some things I just won't do in a slam, even though I love slamming with y'all. Like you can't do everything in that setting. That's real.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna ask you two questions and then I'm gonna get out of your hair. First
Okay.
one, so you are a transplant from Pittsburgh to
Yes.
Baltimore. So, okay. So I'm originally from Oklahoma. I transplanted to New York in 2007, October 11th. And that was a pretty big culture shock. I'm shocked by the culture still every day, in good ways, mostly. But what was the culture shock, if at all, going from Pittsburgh to Baltimore, or is there anything else about the transition other than culture shock that was pronounced to you?
Yeah, huge culture shock. Pittsburgh is not that black. I came to where the black people are, and I was like, yes, finally. So much so that there is a mall in the hood I have never lived in a place where I could walk to the mall. Like our malls are not for us. Okay, so I have to take 2 buses and then walk further. There's
Mm.
no residential areas around all. Um, so that has been a big shock, just like, being immersed in my own culture and not having to create it everywhere I go. It's
Mm.
already established. I get to join and become part of this melting pot, right? Where Pittsburgh's more of a mosaic,
Melting
all these
pot versus mosaic
standalone,
is wild. I love that.
yeah, like all these standalone pieces. So that's been cool. As far as the poetry scene differences, if you were asking me about that type of culture shock, um, Baltimore does have more diversity in the type of poetry that presents here. Where Pittsburgh is like you'd be hard pressed to try to find a coach up there, because competition isn't big. Competition isn't big, but there's a lot of places to get free. You can get free in Pittsburgh. Like, go ahead to an open mic, you can get free real easy. But the competition aspect isn't big where poetry is concerned.
Mm. Okay. Well, I know a couple of folks who moved to Baltimore, so I wonder if you'll inspire any other transplants. They're like, dang, I want to get my pen like that. I want
I'm
to do.
hearing some rustling in the bushes about some folk coming over.
Oh, okay. I'll keep my eyes out. That sounds amazing. But let's
Yeah.
talk about you just a little bit more. Mayo, we know that we find you Maya Wright on YouTube. Where can we find your books? How else can we find you? How else can we support you?
Okay, so first thing you want to do if you want to find my book is follow me on Instagram. I am Maya, Maya underscore WRITE. And then you can click the link in my bio. You can find my YouTube there, my TikTok there. Now, my TikTok is for me to be a human. Let's be very, very clear. There's no poetry on TikTok, but we have a great time. I am petitioning for Beyonce to get Nelly on some remixes because he is a country artist. Let's make it happen.
Smart, smart.
So if you really want to support me, support that too. Um, so if you follow me on Instagram, you really have the keys to my whole life. You can figure out anything from that link in my bio. My book is there. Again, it is The Street Lights Are On. It's my most important project right now.
Mm,
The last 2 poems are in that book, and 100% of the profits from that book go to the families that I've written about.
mm.
I lost 3 of my friends 2 years ago, and so it goes to support their families fully.
Well, we'll have to check that out then. Y'all, so let's go to Maya's Instagram. You already here, you're already in front of your computer or your phone. Why not? Well, y'all, that is going to conclude this episode of Beatniks on the Road. Baltimore owes the Nuyorican nothing. That was fantastic. I hope y'all enjoyed all of that amazing poetry. I know I did. Special thanks to the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and the Mid-Atlantic group for letting me do this. Let me rock with the homies. Our next stop is going to be West Side on it. We're heading to the great city of LA. We'll check out the homies there. But where do we go after that? Let me know in the comments. What's a city y'all want to check out? And we'll put that on the Beatniks virtual poetry bus tour. All right. I've been Tony McPherson. I'll see you on the next stop.
I used all of me to hold them together, and I haven't had enough time to fall apart about it.